This aerial view is priceless and brings a lot of joy and happiness. To be able to witness and experience Kerala monsoon is such a blessing when you are an expat and have been living in a Middle Eastern country since the past few years. I think nature's beauty is at its peak during this time, and it constantly reminds that nature itself is a piece of art. And indeed, the biggest source of inspiration. During our last holidays, I couldn't help but notice this beautifully thriving mushrooms. It felt like a precious natural phenomenon taking place so organically. How inspiring is that? I always had this inclination towards naturally formed organic shapes. So, seeing these mushrooms, I had to try and find a way to recreate those textures, and I thought these single use plastic bags will be a perfect solution. I was clueless how to approach this as a material, so initially I tried various ways. The first step was to stitch multiple layers of plastic bags and use it as a canvas. But that technique didn't work well for me because that was not the texture that I was looking for. I wanted some sort of really crumpled textures, and then I found some YouTube videos and decided to fuse certain layers of plastic bags to create a really thick paper like or canvas like sheets. I wouldn't recommend doing this process indoors, so I had a well ventilated area and I was using respirator for while fusing the plastic bags. These were some of my earlier works which was created in 2019 soon after that holidays. So the name of this fungi or mushroom is turkey tail, and I created a series of artworks in various dimensions, and this particular one is my favorite. Here comes the most exciting and rewarding part. 2 years later, now I'm getting an inquiry to create a larger piece inspired by this smaller artwork of mine. And this artwork is curated to be gifted to a very special person, that is the First Lady of Cameroon, during a very prestigious event related to sustainability. I couldn't believe this was happening and I was literally on clouds 9. Unfortunately, I didn't have much time left, so I had to jump right in the project and get started very quickly. I took a couple of days just to fuse the plastic bags. I believe it was around 20 plastic bags which have been used for this project. Then after fusing, I treated it just like a canvas, so I gave a base layer of gesso and primed it, and then cut it into desired shapes like single petals of the mushrooms. After applying multiple layers of gesso, I kept it to dry thoroughly, and I decided to give a base layer of phthalo blue. I have used acrylics here, and then I decided to give layers of blue, gold and turquoise blue, also teal at some stage. But this was the basic procedure that I followed. As you could see, the texture really replicates, or it is really similar to that of the mushroom, and that's why I had to stick on to the plan of using the plastic bags. Since I had previously created a good collection of artworks with the same procedure, I was okay with this technique. And even though I had little time left to complete the artwork, I didn't have to push myself because I know each step, and I was just enjoying the process and was thrilled to know that this will be going to such a prestigious person. I think more than 200 of such single petal formations were hand cut in different organic shapes, small and big, and then they were individually hand painted in different layers of acrylics. And after that stage, it was completely let to dry. And after that phase, each of these will be hand stitched onto the canvas base. My initial plan was to rivet it onto a wood or MDF, but then I since I was running short of time, I didn't want to take risk and experiment a lot. So I thought of sticking on to the initial plan of hand stitching these textures onto a canvas base. So the canvas dimension was 50 by 50 centimeter. Now each of these individual pieces have been painted using multiple layers and different shades. After drying, I'm just creating few formations and trying out the patterns that need to be attached to the canvas. Like this, each of these formations will be hand stitched onto the canvas. I have kept a few design patterns in my mind and was sticking onto that pattern and progressing really well. However, I couldn't shoot the entire process of painting and stitching because, as I mentioned in my previous video, I'm still getting used to that process of switching on the camera and keeping it in the studio. This is how the completed artwork looked like, and I got it back from the framer right on time, and I am so happy with the end result. I was also requested to add a personalized note from the organization on behalf of them. So I was writing that using a golden liner, and that too added a bit of excitement because it was so personalized, and I felt so happy that I too was becoming part of this initiative or this event. And one more reason to enjoy this work was I really enjoyed working in this particular dimension. So I thought I am now ready to create yet another collection, maybe 5 to 10 artworks in such dimension, because I was always worried that it might take a lot of space and storage is a problem here. So right now I feel like I should create a good collection similar to this one, because I was getting a great response on Instagram. You could also check some of the story highlights and my post on Instagram, because that is where I get to update on a regular basis. So I got some really interesting feedback there saying they would love to see some more artworks of this dimension inspired by this particular series, or inspired by Turkey Tale. And now the next stage is to get started with the packing. Finally, it was time to bid adieu to this artwork. Hope you all enjoyed this small studio vlog as much as I enjoyed creating this. Bye for now.